Okay, so here we are.
Mhm.
Now, let's just, what you know is what makes the difference. That's what we're talking about.
Mhm.
And then we talked about what do you know last week. We talked about you are the embodiment of whatever you know. And we're about to start about your influence and what you know about yourself. That's when we start. So let's quickly do the recap. Starting from what do you know? We talked about who we are depends heavily on where we've been, right?
Mhm.
So it's not really the environment per se, but what we exposed to in that environment. And we want to ask ourselves, so I am Sam. What is it that makes up the configuration of Sam? Is because of the things that I've exposed myself to, which is my culture, my family origin, and my environment, and the things that I have encountered, the conversations that I've had, and things like that. So then we come to realize that let me let this person in, and then we continue, and then we come to realize that those things that we expose ourselves to based on the environment that we were, you know, led to kind of a footprint in our nervous system, and it altered the physical structure of our brain. In other words, we have an understanding that anytime you have an encounter with an experience or based on conversation, based on culture, based on tradition, those experiences does not just go into your brain and vanishes. It goes there and then will leave a mark there. So we can understand why people have PTSD. You understand?
Mhm.
Trauma. That's the reason. Because what they experience is still like left a footprint in their brain nervous system and it continue from a pattern to affect them. So we understand that. Now, this it's a kind of a major thing that I want us to look at today. Now, when we checked out this quotation to the last time, but what is important about this is the last two lines here, the last sentence, it said this indelible microscopic impression accumulate to make you who you are. So your experience, your culture, your origin, your conversation, and all those things makes you who you are. Then noteworthy is to understand that it can also be a constraint, to who you want to become. And that's where the problem is. If this is what made me who I am today, everything I've experienced before brought me to where I am today. Now, if what I want to become tomorrow is not who I am right now, definitely there's going to be a challenge because the only thing that makes me who I am today are those past experiences, those information, those culture, those belief system. Now, I want to become somebody different. I want to be totally different. I want to be, unique. I want to be great. I want to be, whatever. I want to be so successful. But now this is telling me that before I can move forward, I have to find some different data that will be able to help me change my configuration. Because what I am today is based on what I've accumulated over the past years. So those information cannot change who I am. It's just going to make me who I am today. So if I want to be something different, I have to go search for new experiences that's going to transform me. So, and having said that, I did this. I want us to go through this. This is the same thing he said. Now we have to look at this critically because this is the core aspect of what we're dealing with. What makes us who we are today? This is what we're dealing with. So it said the family origin. Now you have to identify three beliefs in your family that have shaped you. There's something about your family, your nurturing that makes you who you are, that created your belief system. That's why you are who you are today. Who you are today is not because you live in the planet Mars. It's because you grew up in that family settings. That's where you learn your language from. That's where you pick your emotion from. That's where you pick maybe what's going to get you excited or what's going to get you unhappy from, because you read the moods and you see things happening. So when you look at this thing, what opportunities are available from your background to transform you? You have to see, how does my background affect who I am today? Why are you asking those questions? Because if those things are not positive, they might not be able to help you to where you're going to in life. But all those things already have the footprints in your nervous system. Now let's go to the culture. What's the ideology? The ideology, in your family. What is the ideology of that culture? What does it promote? What is it that your culture that you believe in, what does it promote? Now, how have you been influenced by your culture? Because all those things are what really make you who you are today. Now, the movies you watch, what kind of movie do you expose yourself to? Classical, romantic, reality? How has Hollywood culture affected you mentally, emotionally, and physically? Because if that's what you grew up with, if I'm telling you, it has a lot of effect on us, how we see things, how we grow with things, what our desires and what our passions are. Sometimes we watch a movie and say, well, that's how I want my wedding to look like, because you're watching a movie and say, oh, I love what they did in that place. Oh, I want to do this. What about the songs we listen to? So when he talks about song, I said, think about 3 songs that are stuck in your brain right now. Which lyrics or sounds influence you emotionally and mentally and appeals to how you feel or think? What in your past, present, and future does the song address? So when you listen to a song and you so hook up to this song is always playing in your brain. You want to ask yourself, what in my past, present, and future does this song address? So is it giving me a positive reinforcement about where I'm going to? Or is just giving me this kind of feeling like, oh, I'm missing out on something or some bad events that have happened to me? Because that's going to create your states of mind, and it's going to create your emotion, it's going to create your reality. The kind of songs you listen to. Now, moving from there, we talk about friends. How do you think your friends have impacted your life? Don't forget, why are we asking this question? The reason we're asking is what you know is what makes the difference. If you don't know how your friends have impacted your life, you will not be able to know how much they influence you and how much they are really, affecting you. But if you know how your friends have impacted your life, and I say write down 3 ways, you know, your friends have impacted your life. What you learn, the footprint of such friendship, and if the knowledge acquired will make you or constrain you from, becoming who you want to be. So this is how we analyze ourselves and say, okay, now the last thing before I start talking, say, what do you listen to daily? Conversation. What do you listen to daily? Who talks to you? What do you open your mind to? How are their words impacting you? Are they communicating the concept that builds you up for greatness? Are they really telling you, oh, you are going to be one of the best female in this world? Or are they telling you, well, you just like any other female, what's the big deal about you? You have to think about it. So whatever they say, whoever you have conversation with every day, remember, it said it's going to leave a footprint in your nervous system and it's going to alter the physical structure of your brain. Now let's check this out. Why does this guy think differently from us? Why do they see life different? It's all based on the same concept. Their family origin, their culture, what they watch, the song they listen to, their kind of friends. When you get to their friends, what class of people they mingle with? Their choice of friends and their environment of nurture, their constraints and what makes them, it's all based in their class. What about their conversations? Let's go there. Their spheres of communications and ways of reasoning are different from ours. They tend to live a structured life, choice school to attend. Some of them will say, well, if I'm not going to Harvard, I'm just going to go to Oxford. They make those choices. Why? Their choice of location where they want to live. They choose where they want to live because money is not their problem. Their choice of profession and the circle of influence they have, the concept they imbibe growing up, and the lens with which they interpret the world around them are all part of their conversation that leaves a footprint in their nervous system. What does that mean? Their conversation is based on this thing. None of these guys, if they attend Harvard, if they attend Yale, Hopkins, and then one graduate and say, well, maybe I'm just going to go look for a job at McDonald's. They're not going to have conversation about McDonald's. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's just an illustration. Their way of thinking and what is imprinted in their brain is different from ours. That's why some of them were like, well, I want to be a senator. Or I'm just going to go work, become a lawyer and I'm going to work for one of the biggest firms. I'm just going to go to, they don't go to Walmart, they go to Wall Street. That's the difference. Some of us go to Walmart, but they go to Wall Street. And they determine, they drive the economy. And when we sit at Walmart, but it's all based on what we expose ourselves to. So let's go forward. Look at this another brain. This is a brain of somebody who said, okay, I'm a Christian. What is it that drives this brain and this impression that is different from other people? When the believer, a Christian, when they give their life to Christ and want to become a Christian, they receive the knowledge of the Bible. Why is the knowledge of the Bible? The knowledge of the Bible wants to transform them to have the image like God. So the teachings in the Bible try to, rebuild in them what all the things, the baggages they came with. You understand what I'm saying? Like all those experience they had before. If they used to be a sinner, that's why I say, oh, you were once a sinner, but you're no more a sinner now because you're a child of God. Now you're not going to drink anymore. You're not going to do any bad things anymore. Now the Bible now gives them a new knowledge of how you should live so that you can have a new experience of what the Bible wants you to become or who God wants you to become. So when you look at their friendship, they have friends that are of the same mindset. We believe in the Bible, spirit-filled companions, spiritually enlightened people, and then God-fearing relationship. Their culture, they begin to teach them about the heavenly, the kingdom of God. They begin to, separate them from their heavenly culture. Like, well, don't believe all those ideology from your culture that, you can be this, you can be that. No, believe what God's saying. So they change their culture from the teaching of the Bible. So now begin to give them a new experience to transform them to who God wants them to be. And their conversation changes. They begin to talk about the word of God. They're not talking about the romantic movie again and some scene in the movie. They're not talking about the Bible. They're talking about angels. They're talking about heaven. They're talking about spiritual things. So now it begins to leave a new impression in their mind and their brain and to transform them. Don't forget, this is a journey of transformation. You want to become the best version of yourself. So you cannot hold that old personality that makes you who you are. It can't take you to where you want to become. So you need new data, new experiences. So that's why I'm trying to re-emphasize this. This is very important. So and now let's move forward. You see the difference in this brain. I already talked about it. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's just the environment exposes us to those things. Now to part 2, let's talk about your belief system. Why is our belief system very important? Remember, what you know makes the difference. Influence is about what you know. Influence is not about who knows you. No. Before people can know you and get attracted to you, it's based on what's the inside of you. That's what they're attracted to. I mean, genuine friendship, genuine people that are around you. They're attracted to the knowledge base of who you are. They're attracted to your intelligence. They're attracted to your, what makes you who you are. They're not attracted to your complexion or your height. So they're attracted to, like, what is it that defines you as a person? So that's the power of what you know. So what you know is what kind of friends you can attract. Because your knowledge will relate to what the kind of knowledge they also possess as an individual. So that's influence. And then at the same time, think about this. When you say, I'm attracted to that person, there is something about the knowledge inside of you that attract to their personality. And their personality is who they are. Who they are is what they know about themselves. So it's about the background knowledge, what we embody as an individual that causes the influence that we attract and the things, that the people that are attracted to us. And you remember I was talking about this last time that, when I was in Nigeria, I was influenced with the ideology that until I go to United States, I'm not going to be successful. So that influences my decision. And every other thing I was doing was not really important anymore. My goal was I want to go to the States. I wasn't even thinking about when I get to the States, what am I going to do? It doesn't matter. And where did I get the influence from? Hollywood movie. I watch a lot of Hollywood movie, and everything I saw in the movie films, like, oh my God, US is just the best. But the Hollywood movie doesn't tell me the true reality of the country because it's a scripted movie by someone's idea, someone's belief, what they want to portray to me. But I receive that influence and I allow it to affect my belief system. You see how influence affects our belief system. So you watch that movie, you are influenced by that movie, it affects your belief system. It affects your belief system about education, about politics, about economy. Now, this is very dangerous. If you don't understand what is affecting your belief system, it's very dangerous. Because with your belief system, what you believe is what you begin to behave. And you can't change that. So if your belief system says the rich are greedy, if that's what you believe, and say the rich people are greedy. Now, for you to say that, it's not just a mere speculation, it's something that you believe. And then why did you say that? I said, because if anybody have an excess money, that excess money makes them to be greedy because there are some people who don't have a lot of money. So the rich are greedy. When you conclude on that, you're telling yourself that I don't want to have excess money because I don't want to be a greedy person. And because you already come to conclusion that the rich are greedy because they have excess money. Now, once you come to that conclusion, you don't want to be seen as a greedy person. So you say, well, I don't need a lot of money. I just need the money to get me by. So in other words, I don't want to be rich. I just want to have money to get me by. That's how our belief system affects the way we behave and the way we interpret things. Let me give you another example. President Trump, he's our president. Hate him or love him, it doesn't matter. But when you talk to people, ask them about President Trump. It is not, they're not judging him based on his performance. They're judging him based on what they believe about what they've heard about him. None of us will say, well, I know him personally. This is exactly the kind of person he is. He's actually kind, but when he comes on TV, he's just a ridiculous person. Nobody will say that. But our belief system is what we see on media. Media sold to us something he wants us to believe. Though I'm not saying President Trump is a perfect guy, but I'm telling you, media will show us what they want us to see. Media will tell us this guy is a ridiculous guy. This guy is a funny guy. This guy, it's like, whatever. They will say all those things. And then when he talks, we say, yeah, that's true. They already said that about him. He's such exactly what the media said about him. So now, because we believe those things about him, our belief system is the lens that we use to interpret life. Your belief system is the lens in which you use to interpret life. Now, whether it's success, whether it's failure, whether it's something that is positive or negative, anytime you believe in some kind of concept, that concept is what you use to interpret the life you live and the things around you. So if I ask you, what does life mean to you? How do you see life? What does success mean to you? How do you see things around you? The only way you would tell me what you see is going to be based on how you use your belief system to interpret all those questions that I've asked you. All interpretation about good and bad, positive and negative, love and hate, success and failure are all from our belief system. That's why we all have different opinions about things, because we're not going to see things from the same perspective. We're always going to see things from this different perspective based on individuals' belief system. That's why some people is going to say, I love President Trump. That's why some people say, well, if you say that again, I'm going to shoot you because that guy is ridiculous. It's all on our belief system. So we use that belief system to interpret things, and it's going to affect us, whether it's something bad or positive, negative, or whatever. It's our belief system. So to change how you see and interpret things, you must change the lens in which you used to view things. If you want to change your status right now, you cannot change your status until your belief system is changed. You cannot change your condition right now until you change your belief system. Because sometimes we get into a place where we are convinced, we are comfortable with who we are. Once you're comfortable with who you are, that means your belief system tells you you are okay. Don't worry about your circumstance or situation. Now, if you cannot change your belief system, you can't change your situation. Because your situation, you've interpreted it with your belief system and you say, okay, everything is good to go. I'm okay. Now, the danger there is if your belief system is distorted, then your interpretation of things in life is going to be distorted. You agree with that? If your belief system is distorted, is wrong, then your interpretation of everything you're going to do, decision you're going to make in life is going to be distorted. When people come to a point in time, they like people are in a relationship and they tell them this is not a healthy relationship. You cannot force those people to separate until one person begins to see in their belief system that, well, this is truly a kind of an unhealthy relationship. But until they see from their belief system, they still see that relationship as it's okay. I still like this person. I'm still okay with this person. They're still going to remain in that relationship. That's why I said if your belief system is distorted, your lens in which you view things, which you view life, is going to be distorted. Now, from there, you understand that how you interpret life is the reality that you create for yourself. So your interpretation becomes a reality. And where does that interpretation come from? Your belief system. Your belief system becomes your lens in which you view things. And then the lens in which you interpret things, you view things, you interpret life, and that becomes your reality. So if you say, I don't like rich people, you're creating a concept there from your belief system. You're interpreting having money to be greedy. And then at the end of the day, your reality is, I will not be a rich person because I don't like the concept. That's how we interpret things. Because when we focus on something, that thing that we focus on becomes our reality. When you take a camera and you focus on something, that's not the entire thing that is existing. But that which you focus on becomes your reality. That's how you interpret things. So we have to understand this concept. Now, what does all this mean? All those things is from the background idea that what you know makes the difference, because what you know is what creates the influence that you expose yourself to. Your influence is what you believe, the belief system. Your belief system becomes the lens in which you interpret life. That interpretation becomes your reality. Everything still comes from the knowledge that you embody as a person. So if you want to change your belief system, you have to know differently. You have to have some different information. If you want to change the lens in which you interpret life, your belief system has to change. If you want to change the way you create your reality, you have to create the way you interpret things you see. All goes back down to what you know. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at the brain of our brain and the brain of the elites, you see the difference. Their belief system how they interpret things, and how they create their own reality. Because you cannot create what you're not focused on. It's not a reality for you. What you're not focused on is not a reality. Where your lens is, where you're focused on, is your reality. You can't tell me now something that you can tell me something that is happening in UTEP because you're a student at UTEP. You can tell me something is going on, but you cannot tell me what is happening in Harvard right now because you don't have any focus. Your lens is not in Harvard. You don't know the reality there. You only have the reality of where your focus extends to. Is anything within your view range, anything within the perimeters of your belief system, your interpretation, that's where your reality ends. So if we want to create a different reality from what we have now, we have to go back to what we need to know, the information we need to access to create those belief systems. We have to change our belief system. Then once the belief system is changed, the lens in which you interpret things will change. Once the lens changes, then the reality you create will change, because when your interpretation changes, your reality changes. Now, I want to move forward to this slide. Now, I'm going to, what do you know about yourself? What do you know about yourself? It also go back to everything we've been talking about. What do you know about yourself? This is actually another very vital part in this, class. Remember, you are the embodiment of your own knowledge. Remember those two tigers. One tiger in the jungle, one tiger is a pet. They have the same DNA, but they will behave differently because of the environment they're exposed to. The one that is a pet is still a tiger, but all that he's going to know about himself, or it's just like, I'm a tiger, I'm a pet. And it's not going to understand the wild part of itself because it was not in the jungle. So we are, at every point in time, the embodiment of our own knowledge. Now, if you don't understand everything about yourself, you will only live with the limit of what you know about yourself. Even though you have the potential to be the greatest person in life, you will just still live like an ordinary person because of your undiscovered potential and your undeveloped skills. And you have to know the world will only recognize you for what you know that is valuable to them. Nothing is significant outside its value. But first of all, you want to understand what is that value that you carry, the potential you have. So I use the seed, the picture of a seed, to show us a potential. You take a seed and you plant one seed, the seed will bring forth a tree, and the tree will bring forth the fruits. And inside each of the fruit, there's going to be hundreds of seeds, a multiplying effect. You remember that thing we talked about the other time? How the potential is unlimited. Now, you see in the slide, one song, Halo, uploaded on YouTube in 2010. That one song is one person's potential. And when Beyonce sang that song in 2010, that was Beyonce's potential as a singer. Now in 2020, 10 years, 1 billion people view that song. Now don't even talk about just a billion people viewing a song. Let's talk about, what do you think this song is doing in their brain? Remember the nervous system, whatever song you listen to, you remember? So they listen to Halo. So you can see the number of people that Beyonce is influencing right now just by one potential of a song. So you don't understand the power that you have inside of you if you don't discover your potential and you don't develop your skills. And that's what I'm trying to emphasize. A lot of people are going to live the same lifestyle because they don't discover who they are. If one song can influence 1 billion people, which I don't know what direction the song is taking them to, I don't know. But I know everybody with 1 billion people listening to one song by one person, I can tell you, I don't know how emotionally that is affecting them. I don't know how spiritually it's affecting them. I don't know how mentally it's affecting them. But what I know is, once you view the song, it leaves a print in your nervous system and it alters the structure of their brain. They don't even know that, but it affects what they do. Out of the 1 billion people that have listened to this song, I'll tell you 1 million of those people have this song stuck in their brain. That's exactly what we're saying, the power of potential. So now think about what potential you have that you've never discovered. What skills you have you've never developed. Now think about 1 billion people that you can influence that you've never even know right now. But it's not going to happen until you discover what do you know about yourself? How many potential do you think you have? How many skills do you have that you have not developed? So I wrote about J.K. Rowling. So she was the first, author that became a billionaire. What was she writing about? Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Now, what is intriguing about the story is she was once living on benefits. Before one day she was working for an organization and she was on the train and then she had the idea of writing this book. And then she started writing that book. This was a woman that was once living on benefits. But that book was once a seed inside of her that was never realized until the day she thought about it. I'm going to write this book. If she did not discover that she has that gift to write that book, nobody will ever know anything about Harry Potter. Nobody will never know anything about Harry Potter. She will never be the first billionaire author. So there is something we carry inside of us as a seed that we've never realized now. Until we realize that, we will never fulfill our fullness, our potential as a person. How on earth a woman that once lived on the benefits now just rose up to become one of the first billionaire author, just writing fictions? The book was inside of her, but she never realized. The day she found that I think I have this thing in me, I want to start doing it. She began to develop the manuscripts. And then, boom, here we go, Harry Potter series, books, movie. And then, bam, this woman became a billionaire. 2014, she was a billionaire, the first author to become a billionaire. But that was 2014. Let's say 2009. What did she think she was? She probably said, I'm nobody. 2001, she probably thinks she was just nobody. But all those years, she was carrying the seed of that book inside of her. Just like you're sitting right now, there is a seed of something that you're carrying inside of you. You've never realized it. You don't know what those things are. But if you find out those things today, in 10 years, you're going to like, whoa, is this what it's all about? And that's the reason for the class like this, that we all go and discover the potential it's inside of us that we've never mingled with, things we have never seen. But we have those things in us, the seed. But that seed will be of no use if we don't discover them. That seed will be of no use if we don't plant them. That seed will be of no use if we don't nurture them. One song, 1 billion people. I can just imagine, what am I going to do that 1 billion people want to come and listen to? I have to find out what that thing is. But I still have 2 people listening to me now. That's the beginning. Okay, so think about this guy, Eric S. Yuan, the owner of Zoom. Just want to tell you, everybody's talking about COVID-19. Within that period of COVID-19, this guy earning, from 3 billion to 8 billion, because everybody wants to be on Zoom now. All schools are on Zoom, all businesses are on Zoom. But this was some guy's idea. If he had never discovered Zoom, I don't know what we're going to be using. Everybody's going to be using Facebook. And Facebook is not going to be as authenticated as this. So there is something in us. What do you know about you? That's the question. Why is this important? What you know makes the difference. If you don't know that you have a seed of greatness inside of you, you're just going to live an ordinary life. But if you understand that you have something in you that the world needs to pay attention to, then you begin to develop that concept. I'm going to move to the next slide. This slide is like my best slide. And when you look at the picture, it speaks volume. This is very important. If you don't get anything out of everything we've talked about, look at that picture very well. Nobody is going to do that thing for that chick. That chick has to do that by itself. If they try to break it from outside, you're going to kill that chick. It has to break it by itself from inside in order to emerge, to become what we're seeing. There is something inside of you that nobody can bring out. You have to bring it out yourself. But it's not going to happen if you don't believe in yourself. It's never going to happen. The best that the mother of that chick is going to do is to incubate that egg. Once the mother incubates that egg, the mother will move away. The chick has to break out from that shell by itself. That's the problem we have. We all carry this thing inside of us, but we don't understand how to break forth from inside. Nobody becomes great from outside. It has to come from inside. Your idea comes from inside. Your concept comes from inside. Your potential is developed from inside. Your greatness comes from inside. Even the seed that we talked about, when a seed is being planted, whatever is going to become the plants that come from the seed breaks out from the inside of the seed. It's a principle of greatness in life. Nothing comes from outside that makes you great. Everything that will make for your greatness comes from inside of you. But you have to identify with that power in you. You have to believe that you carry something inside of you. You have to believe that you have the power to break forth from that shell. And the world is going to see you emerge as the chick is coming out from that shell. It's a new day. You look at this, I look at this, I say, wow, this is the mystery of greatness. It has to come from your inside. Your potential will never emerge if you don't believe in yourself. You must see in yourself what others cannot see in you. Think about the chick. When it was inside the shell, nobody knows anything about this chick. You just have an idea, okay, this is one of the eggs. But that chick has to believe. When nobody believes in it, it has to believe in itself and break loose and say, I'm coming to the world. I have something to show you guys. It used to, you're big to break up the shell to come out from that. You have to do the same thing. We have to do the same thing. Nobody believes in me. Nobody knows me. They don't care about me. I'm just another African-American person. But I have to break out of the shell for the world to see me and hear me until they begin to say, whoa, who is that guy? Oh, have you listened to that guy? Oh, did you watch that guy? I have to believe in myself because nobody's going to believe in me the way I will believe in myself. The same thing goes for you too. You have to believe in yourself. The same thing goes for everybody. Believe in yourself. Believing in yourself is it's your power to become unstoppable. The only thing that will stop this chick from breaking loose from that shell is if only he had a second doubt and say, I don't think I can do it. He's going to stay inside the shell for as long. But he knows, no, there's going to be a transformation. There's a number of days that I need to stay inside the shell. I have to come out. I have to come out. So when the time comes, he just needs to understand, I need to break loose from this thing. Boom, and he's going to break that thing and then comes out. But it has to be how much of certainty do you have in your own self? How much do you believe in yourself? Nobody can do it for you. You have to believe in yourself. I don't want to run out of time, so let me go to the next slide. Guess what? The value, this is where we talked about value. Here when we talk about value, think about this. You cannot quantify your value if you don't know who you are. How do you place value on yourself if you don't understand who you are? There's no way. What gives you value is from inside of you. It's the knowledge of who you are. So I said, You define yourself, your own value by how you see yourself and the result you produce. The result you produce. The other will value you for your products, the result you get. I kept saying it. Nobody's going to say, well, you are the best thing I ever seen in this world just because of your height. Nobody's going to take you on CNN and say, whoa, have you seen this girl? She's like 5 feet. No, they have millions of billions of people that are 5 feet plus. So what people is going to take you for your value, result you produce is what people are really going to say, well, have you seen her? Have you seen him? Whoa, did you know that guy? Oh, have you heard about that guy? What do they want to hear about? It's not the guy because it's a guy, it's because of what product it brought into existence. So I use a picture of a diamond. Why is diamond so expensive? Why is it that people go and it's like this picture of a diamond and the price is like $300,000? And I was like, what is that for? These stones is you got the stones from a dirty place in the mine and people bring it out and then it becomes one of the most expensive thing and one of the most expensive jewelries in the world. Why is that? That tells us something about our life. But when the diamond is under in wherever they mine it from, nobody cares about it. It's only people who understand the value that goes to that mine to to extract it, because they know it brings money. Now, people are not going to take you serious until they begin to see your results. People are not going to take you serious until they see how much you can produce or how much you can really, how much results you are producing that's going to benefit them. So you're not going to blame people when they look at you and they don't even acknowledge you. Well, because there's nothing they want to acknowledge. They've seen hundreds of people in a day. Why are you different? So it's the product. It's the product. You can define your worth if you can capture the necessary knowledge that creates value other than if you really want to know how much do you worth or how valuable are you, you're going to ask yourself, what am I producing? What am I producing? What is it that people around me see or benefit from me? What is it that I have that the world need? Now, I just talked about the guy that created Zoom now. Everybody needs this guy now. I don't even know this guy's name before until I have to use Zoom. So now this guy become an essential household, name, because every household now have a computer and they are glued to the Zoom because kids need to go to class and things like that. But before, nobody knows this guy. Now the guy created a value. Now everybody know who he is. So people will only value you for the benefit they derive from you. They will value you for your products. They will value you when you discover who you are. They will value you when you know the knowledge that you have makes a difference and how to, continue to grow that knowledge. That's how people like, well, have you met him? Have you met her? Have you met that person? Who are they? Who is the one who created those things? So sometimes we are like, I want to become successful in life. I want to become this. Well, it's very easy. Discover who you are. When you discover who you are, bring out that great thing inside of you and make sure what you have benefits the world around you. It is not a purpose if it doesn't benefit others. What makes your purpose a genuine purpose is when it can benefit you and benefit the people around you. So whatever you know could be an asset to you or could be a liability. Whatever knowledge you have could be an asset or it could be a liability. So if that knowledge that you know cannot turn into anything valuable, it's a liability for you. But if the knowledge you have, if you can turn into something valuable that benefits you and benefit the world around you, it's an asset. Just like your potential is an asset. So you have to know enough to be able to accomplish your purpose. You have to know enough to be able to accomplish your purpose. Whatever is in you, whatever knowledge that you is in, it's in you right now. It's what drive everything you see around you. So when you look at yourself, and you look at your surroundings, you look at your life, you look at your emotion, you look at your affection, you look at what you're attracted to, you look at what you're aspiring to become. Every of those things is based on what you know. You cannot want to become what you don't know. So if you want to become something, it's because you have the knowledge of that thing. That's why you want to become it. If you are attached to something, it's because of the knowledge of that thing. That's what attached you to it. If you are dissociating yourself from something, it's because of the knowledge of that thing. That's why you're dissociating yourself from something. If you're emotionally, connected to something, it's because of the knowledge of that thing that makes you be emotionally connected to that thing. If you have a belief system, it's because of the knowledge of that belief system that makes you to be attached to that belief system. If you interpret things in a certain way, it's the belief system that you have that makes you to do that. If what you interpret becomes your reality, it's because of the knowledge of what you know that makes you. So everything is based on the knowledge of what you know. That's what makes the difference in your life right now. The day you know better than where you are now, the day your life is going to be different. The day you have more better information than what you know now, the day the knowledge that you have now becomes different, you become an embodiment of a new knowledge, you become a new person. So it's about what you know is what makes the difference. And I'm just going to use this example because it was really so funny. So every time I have a chat with my friend, and it tells me, they say, hey, your smoke detector is beeping. Can't you change the battery? And I'll say, no, nothing is beeping in my house. And he kept telling me this for almost 3 weeks. I said, I don't know what you're hearing. Nothing is beeping in my house. And then one day, I just said, let me listen very well. Let me pay attention. So I shut down the noises around me and I listened. And I started hearing the beeping. I said, seriously, I didn't know. I live in this house every day for 3 weeks. This guy kept telling me, say, your smoke detector is beeping. Can you change the battery? I said, no, nothing is beeping in my house. I can hear anything. But the day I kept silent and I said, let me see, let me hear. And I tell you, from that moment, I started hearing that thing. What is the difference between then and now? Focus, focus, focus. It is what you focus on. What you focus on. What we focus on, it's very important. It drives a lot of things in our life. Our focus is powerful. If you don't focus on the right thing, you're going to be on the wrong side of business. Now, let me say this for you. Wherever you focus your lens is the reality you perceive. Wherever you focus your lens is the reality you perceive. It is how you represent things in your mind that drives your feelings. How you represent things in your life, that's what drives your feelings. And then the way you feel is the way you live your life, your emotion. You know, sometimes we focus on things that make us cry. And once we focus on that thing that touches our emotion, it takes us to the place of tearing, crying and being heartbroken and stuff like that. But once we shift our focus, then we discover that, well, that's not even a big deal. Why should I cry about that? That's the way life is. Whatever you focus on. If you focus on wrong concepts, we're going to keep going into the wrong direction. But our vision, what our vision is to be able to change the landscape. But first of all, we have to receive a fresh knowledge that will change and transform us. And then we can focus on what's going to make us great and successful in life. And then we can change the world around us. So what you know is what makes the difference. You have to evaluate what you know, and you have to be able to keep yourself with the right information that will translate you and transform you to where you want to go to. We cannot do the same thing the same way we've done it for the past 5 years. If we continue like that, we're just going to remain in the same spot for the next 5 years. But if we want to change, we have to find the new information, expose ourselves to new knowledge, new concept, and begin to leave a new footprint in our nervous system, and our life is going to change. And Think about this. This is my last slide, and that'll be it for today. This slide says you have to, and I want you to keep this in your mind. This is one of my principles that I live by. I live this principle. You have to consciously associate yourself with thoughts, relationships, environments that vividly convey the image of the future you desire. You have to, you have to, and you have to. These three things, and I'm going to talk about these three things when I teach about the great circle. But now I just want you to keep these as one of your principles and apply it to yourself. I need to know what I'm thinking about. I need to know what relationship I'm keeping. I need to know the environment. Mentally, the environment is not necessarily a physical environment. It may be a mental environment. Where do I go with my emotion? Where do I go with my affection? Things like that. So, but you have to understand, I have to, all those three concepts, thought, relationship, and environment, need to align with the picture of the future that you're going to. If they don't align, you'll not be able to make that difference, because what you know will make the difference. And I want to say thank you very much for attending this class today. It's a pleasure having the opportunity to take this class. Any question, please? Time for questions.
You know how you said your belief, lenses, and then your interpretation to reality? Would there be any cases where sometimes your lenses, you have a belief, and then it's the lens, but then your lens kind of change, and then it goes back to belief again? Like it changes the belief? Or no?
So,
Or then,
let me explain that. So if I said, if your belief doesn't change, the way you see things will never change. Your belief is that lens in which you used to see things.
okay.
So for you to change the lens, you have to change the belief. So that's why I say Trump. Before you can change your perspective about Trump, you first of all have to change your belief system about what you have believed about him.
Because let's say like you believed like Trump was like all this bad thing, and that was your lens, but then you got new information and it changes your lens. Is it possible to change your lens first and then it changes your belief? Or it just goes to belief and then change?
All right, so no. So the lens, the way I use it is, it's not really like a substance by itself, but I'm just saying view, your view. Your view is what I'm trying to say. So your belief has to change. You know, the lens doesn't change anything. The lens is just a kind of a mirror. The mirror doesn't change if the image doesn't change.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So if you say, well, do I need to change the way I look in the mirror before? No, you can't change the way you look at it. You have to change how you look before you change the mirror. So the belief system is what is the foundation, what has to be changed. But once the belief system change, then how you see things change. Then once the way you see things change, the interpretation, you remember, it's what you see that you interpret. And what you interpret is what your reality is. And then let me tell you something, this is in a more advanced way. If tomorrow you said, I want to go to Mexico and start a big company or a big business, one of the things that will help you is, what is your belief system about the customers you want to have in Mexico? That's what will determine how you formulate what you want to go and start to do in your company there. You have to think about what is the lens in which you are using to see your customers that you want to have in Mexico, compared to if you want to have customers in Canada. Now you see these are two different regions, and you know two different culture. So now how do you interpret what you want to do in those two regions is going to be based on the information you gather from those two regions. So this thing is some concept for big organization. But if we know how to apply it to our individual life, we will know how to apply it to our own organization. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the belief system is very important. It's what do you believe about the economy? What do you believe about United States? What do you believe about Mexico? What do you believe about Canada? The belief system is how you view all those things. And that creates an interpretation you have. Just like when I stand in the mirror, I say, oh, I look at myself, I say, okay, I have a pretty face. Why? Because I could see in the mirror and I have interpretation that I have a pretty face, and that become my reality. So I look at myself and I smile, I say, oh, I got a pretty face. But it comes from the beliefs first before the mirror will tell me. So my lens will not tell me exactly what I don't believe. My lens is telling me exactly what I believe. It's just giving me a reflection of it.
Okay.
I hope I answered your question the right way.
Yeah, you did. I got it.
Okay, good.
That was
So,
one question I had.
okay, I have this for you. This I have for you. It's an assessment for you. I think you should take the picture, and I can also copy and send it to you.
Or I'll take a picture now and then.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is your assessment, because see, remember, we have to know all these things and to be able to live a structured life. A structured life is not like a rigid life. It's just like we know, we have the knowledge of how things work, and we have the knowledge of how things happen. So, and because of that, our culture is changed because we have the knowledge of how things happen, how things work. Then our friends change because remember that day the angel said some of his friends want him to come and play game, and he said he's not going to go play game. He want to come listen. He's going to come to class and we're going to talk together. Exactly. That's it. The culture is changing. The friendship is changing. The conversation also needs to change. Because why? We are going to somewhere very different, somewhere very demanding, because we are competing with who? This is the brain we are competing with. They want to be on top forever. But no, there's a space for us there too. That's the point. But they're not stopping us from becoming the elite of the society. But this is what is stopping us. Our brain, the way we see things, the way we think about things. But if we can switch from this brain and switch to this culture, switch to this conversation, switch to this kind of friendship, everything about us will change. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's the difference. So I want you to take this assessment and we're going to sit down and talk about it. I'm going to do it myself and we're going to talk about it. And that'll be it for today. I don't want to, I think I've taken enough time. Femi, are you still there? Okay, I'm not sure if it's there. All right. I want to tell you to have a very good weekend.
You too. You too.
And I'm going to send you a text message and say, how are you doing? Make sure you answer my text message.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yes.
All right. I want you to
My
take
brother
care.
also beats me up.
You said what?
Okay. My brother also, he yells at me. He's like, I texted you and you don't answer. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just sometimes don't
Okay, no problem.
always have my phone, but yeah, I'm trying.
You're trying. Okay, keep working on it.